Hello, people. Welcome to Season 2 of River Talk Podcast. Today I am joined by Emily Legel and Justin Finch. Couch. My bad.
An alias.
I am John Sluns, and today our topics are the pros and cons of online learning. We'll start by saying about the pros. What are the pros of online learning, in your opinion?
I think the pros of online learning is that it's accessible to people who are not able to attend school at the traditional times. Online learning means that you can watch a lecture, do homework, and attend class if you're working, if you have kids after they're in bed, on your breaks at work. It's just more accessible. And sometimes it's cheaper depending on how you do it.
Justin?
I think that nowadays that it allows the people even in poor countries in Asia can get a college education by watching or doing some of the coursework, some classes. It kind of eliminates the wealth barrier and location barrier, so it makes things more universal in a sense.
That's a good point. I'm going to say that online learning is a kind of a revolution in learning, and for a matter of fact, because it allows disconnected people to be educated. Look at Khan Academy. It's kind of a different subject, but Khan Academy is for the most part.
I actually have some experience with Khan Academy. Basically what Khan Academy is a free website that was started by someone who wanted to teach math to his cousins, so he started posting videos on YouTube with tutorials on how to do fractions. I think that was the original one. Now they've expanded to not only math tutorials from pre-kindergarten through calculus and beyond, but they also have tutorials on computer science, economics, history, and other science. Basically it's free and there are practice math problems that you can work on. But I think that I think online learning is that it's accessible, but it's just hard to complete. I don't find it quite as my style as I do classroom learning.
It kind of depends on the style of the person. Like if a person learns better on hands-on experience, then they should do hands-on. Like I know that some fields, you just gotta be hands-on, like photography, welding, and stuff that involves your hands, like literally making something.
I think approximately here on campus.
You can never do a shop class through an online thing. That would be kind of impossible. Like learn how to build a birdhouse online.
No, I actually did that.
You did that?
Yeah, I learned how to build a birdhouse online.
So,
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can do something online. I mean, I've learned how to do certain.
It's a whole lot easier within one of those instructions they put with the IKEA watching the video. I was going to say, in the formal setting, it's hard to actually do classes and prove that somebody has learned stuff or taken the class, because you can't verify papers, you can't verify very well what they know. It is a whole lot easier to learn because you have more resources, you can research stuff, thousands of documents are at your fingertips while you're doing it. But to prove that you actually did that, to prove that somebody actually cares about the subject, that becomes the issue.
Exactly, that's my point. I mean, it's hard to verify with online learning that yes, Emily took the test and not my older brother who took the class last year.
I was going to say, they have like thousands of open coursework that from Ivy League schools, MIT, they have some of their lower level, all the lectures on tape. And they even offer some of those homework problems. So you can have an equivalency of some of those schools with just without the verification. That's kind of.
And I think approximately one third to one half of the students at CCC are full-time online students, and many more of us have taken at least one online class. I think everyone on this panel has taken at least
Yeah.
one, if not, is in the course of one online class.
I'm already taking one right now.
I mean, I took one last summer. I personally did not enjoy it at all. Maybe it's the way the course was set up. The lectures were just given as extra reading, and there weren't a lot of examples except for the ones in the textbooks that I had. It was also an accounting class, so if you put one extra space, the software that graded it would mark it wrong. In addition, it wouldn't recognize my Mac computer at home, so I had to do all of it on the Windows computers here at school. I experienced a lot of problems with it, and I feel like I didn't get the connection with my teacher as I do when I'm sitting in a history class with Steve or taking a math class with Ms. Wood.
Well, a lot of that's technical barrier. You don't really know much about, well, it sounds like the person who designed the class didn't have much experience in programming, the software settings, the exclusions of the, so it made it was clunky because of that.
Yeah.
You can, like nowadays, it's nice if you actually can see the teacher, but they have video chats now. Like theoretically, you can have all this stuff, these problems taken care of, but it's still a work in progress very much.
What do you think of your online class, John?
Well, usually I rarely have any problem with these things, and usually you're all right. You don't really get a personal connection with the teacher. You never see them in person, and my last class I didn't even know what they looked like. Had no idea. Then they'll communicate through email, and you can't really have real-time conversations with them. Like if they don't understand and your problem, you can't really show them or kind of explain in person.
Have you ever tried Skype or some of those?
I can't say I really know how to use that.
The problem is that the online classes that I've seen, there is no Skype option with a teacher. I mean,
I've seen a few that there are, but
yeah, you
Like
might have taken one.
and my doctor I see now is in North Dakota. I meet completely over there.
So, I mean, don't get me wrong, the internet has provided a lot of benefits, but I think that I just am not comfortable with online learning. Just because if we were taking an online class together, I don't think I would have had the friendship that I have with you guys. Because of it, I think part of what education, at least a college education is meeting people, making connections, making networks and friends. Even if you're only in class for an hour or two a week, online learning just misses out on all of that. Plus, in an online discussion, it's very easy to misinterpret what someone says. In class, you can joke around a bit, and because people know the sound of your voice, they don't take things seriously, or they take things seriously, while online it's impossible to interpret what someone means.
Well, with how much webcams are becoming available, you can buy one for.
Well, the problem is that a lot of students, myself included, are poor, and that means we don't have internet access at home. So, and it's not like the schools have webcams for us to use either.
That does seem like something. Webcams only cost like $15 nowadays, so it's not. But our financial aid would be nice if it covered stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's kind of a different topic about the financial aid.
Yeah, the problem is schools don't really recognize the need for it. Yes, we have Wi-Fi, but oftentimes even if you do have internet, the internet's slow because so many people are on. My dad took an online class, and he said he had to go on a certain time because if he went on between 5 and 8, he'd be locked out because that's when every other working person was doing their homework.
Well, there's just not the fiscal incentive for online learning. They don't make as much money. There's a whole lot of problems there. If they're not going to make money on the books and all this other stuff, then they're not going to spend as much money to develop it. And a lot of this stuff is backed by for a low amount of monies, or non-traditional students, or. Yeah,
that's kind of a problem since if you don't put any time and effort in developing the software to make it easier for someone to use it, they're less likely to actually use it because the tools aren't there to make it worthwhile using it.
Another problem I've seen is that the schools, even though they say they want to offer online classes, our current system that's used by our school district, we use the Iowa Community College Online Consortium, and that website is virtually inaccessible. You can't really get onto it on the mobile devices. You can't really navigate it that well because it's so confusing, and every time they propose an update, it's just inefficient because the people who are telling the designers what to do don't know what they're doing. Instead of having a computer or web design professor actually work on it, the bureaucracy hires someone outside and tells them what they want, and if it's not what the bureaucracy thinks is right, don't get me wrong, the school administration does a lot of good things, but they're often older, they're often out of touch with the latest technology, and it takes time. I mean, it took a long time before our school had decent Wi-Fi because they didn't want to invest into it, because the administration did not understand the resources, the value that comes with good Wi-Fi. Until we get rid of this bureaucracy and trying to outsource everything, we aren't going to get anything done. It's going to be inefficient. It's going to be hard for students to use, and more students are going to start a course and then drop.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I think that this entire podcast represents this one thing, and that it's kind of just growing pains of the entire society. Like 10 years ago, they wouldn't have been doing this because we didn't have the technology and the know-how to do this. Now, since we have the technology and know-how, we have to talk about this online learning, and I think that's the entire crutch of what this podcast represents.
Steve, what do you think about online learning as a teacher?
Well, interesting you ask. I taught one online class in the past, and it was at a large university. And one of the things I found was really interesting, we talk about in these online learning environments or online chat rooms or whatever, people go online, people tend to get a little ruder to each other because they're not face-to-face. And one thing I noticed with my students was sometimes the comments back and forth between students or the comments between students to me were a little ruder than they would be in a classroom environment. People felt a little freer to express themselves that way. I found that very interesting.
Was it frustrating to have to teach online, not because you interact with students?
Yes. I like interacting with students. I think that's the value of an education, is the interacting with each other, as you mentioned, interacting with professors and so on, and that's the point. There's a lot of reputable schools now that offer complete online, you can go all 4 years or however, and get your degree, and I do wonder, did that student get as much education as a student who attended physically, attended the school?
And I just don't think I
Just
would.
having to take do all the stuff.
Which is another thing, that the interaction part. I meant to say this earlier, but we are a social creatures. We evolved to be socially inclined to interact with other people. Without having this interaction, to learn from another human being, it's just not as effective. Like you are technically learning from another human being, but you're not.
Yeah, I think one quick thought before we have to wrap up.
I was just going to say the electronic resources and everything here is like positively archaic. The connection speed's terrible. They block you from sites that are relevant to your classes, and
Like Iowa Public Radio, I want to look up a thing for creative writing and I couldn't.
yeah.
Okay, I think we're running out of time, so I think we might have to skip hallway chatter. Thank you guys all for joining us on our first episode of the new season. Also, thanks to Audrey Simpson for being our camera person. We look forward to having you in the future, and hopefully you'll be able to carry on this project next semester. Thank you, Steve, for finally going on camera. And thank you, everyone. If you want to get involved, again, my name is Emily. My email is elegel, ELEGEL, @live.eicc.edu. So if you want to get involved, let me know.